India has stepped up security in major cities as it braces for fresh protests against the new citizenship law. Mobile data services have been suspended in parts of Uttar Pradesh.
In the capital, New Delhi, police have imposed emergency law prohibiting public gatherings in some places. At least 25 people have died in the protests since the controversial law was adopted this month. The law makes it easier for immigrants to obtain citizenship, but not if they're Muslims.
Now, violence peaked last Friday when police clashed with protesters in several cities after their weekly Muslim prayers. There are fears that the same might happen today.
And for the latest, we go to Ishan Garg, our correspondent in New Delhi. So, Ishan, authorities stepping up security ahead of fresh protests. What are they expecting?
The first thing on the authorities' mind is that a violent protest should not break out as it did a couple of weeks ago in Jamia Millia University in a largely Muslim neighborhood. And also today, one of the protests that was organized in New Delhi and a rather large crowd turned out to it was in Jama Masjid, which is in Old Delhi, another predominantly Muslim neighborhood. So at the top of the authorities' mind, they are being very conscious that another violent protest shouldn't break out, because as the time is passing and the people are not getting what they want, which is essentially a rollback of this citizenship law, they are becoming more and more anxious, and which is kind of making this whole situation in Delhi kind of a powder keg which is ready to blow up at any moment, which is why today we saw heavy security deployment not only of the Delhi police but also of the Central Reserve Police Forces, which comes under the central government. We also saw armored cars on New Delhi streets for the very first time. So the police and the authorities, they are clearly very they're keen to make sure that a violent protest does not break out as it has in other parts of the country, and also because New Delhi is a rather more important town, being the capital of India, which is why the police have to take these extra precautions.
Now, we know that Mr. Modi said that Muslims whose ancestors are Indian have nothing to fear, but it's not only the Muslims who are protesting against the new law, is it?
That's correct. It's not just the Muslims. I mean, to put it in very simple terms, we have to look at the whole protest from two separate angles. One would be to look at the protest in the northeastern part of the country, where people are protesting against the law because they think that once this law comes into action and it's implemented, they would be overrun by thousands of illegal migrants from Bangladesh, and who would be mostly Hindus. While in the central part of the country, people who are protesting with Muslim communities, they are arguing that this law is against the secular constitution of India, so their fight is against the secular fabric of the nation. But the BJP government has tried to pacify both these groups by saying that the people in Assam and other northeastern states, they need not worry, because the government has created kind of buffer zones where this particular law will not be implemented. And for the people in the Indian mainland, they're saying that the law is not against Muslims, and they're trying their very best to communicate this to the people who are protesting in hopes that the protests cool down soon.
All right, thanks for that update, Ishan. Ishan Garg reporting from New Delhi there.